Kennedale, Lake Worth, Town of Lakeside, City of Mansfield, North Richland Hills, Richland Hills, of course ourselves, Saginaw, South Lake, and the City of Warpaga, Westlake, and West Worth Village. So it's quite a few people, a little over 30.
Springfield on there?
Yes, they are, I believe. Yes, thank you.
It's set for the,
You're paying attention.
it's set for the second meeting over there. It'll be up on the next one. It was on last night.
Yeah, and so each city, your team would go through, because each city's a little bit different. So I'll run down and give you what our city is involved in. The potential hazards in order of risk, with one being the highest. Number one for us was thunderstorms, which include hail, wind, and lightning. Number two is tornado threats. Number three is extreme heat. Number four is winter storms. Number five is wildfires. Number six is flooding. Number seven is expansive soils. Number eight's drought, and nine's earthquakes. And before everybody starts laughing on the earthquakes, we really do have them. I've been through several things, usually about 2 or 3 times a year. I go for training on that, and they tell us that there's a fault line which runs through Dallas that many, many people don't even realize, and those things over there is not built to take care of even a small earthquake. So that should be interesting when that comes about.
All our fire departments, when wildfires and farther down? Seems like
Yeah,
more of
yeah.
an issue than.
Well, once we start getting down there, down the low ones, let's say, number 5 or even number 6 and below that is exactly that. It's few and far between, but you also have to realize that what emergency managers' jobs rely on is a worst case scenario. And if we have a plan and we can connect up with everybody, then we're a lot farther down the road, you know, instead of waiting after the effects, which is what used to be emergency management. That was always after the facts. And now we do it way far before. So it's a little bit.
With some of our river and like the hills that I live by and all that, wildfire could happen a lot more so than other populations.
Well, just what you just said, that'll be one of my subjects. That explains how we put all that together.
Sorry for your
Okay. Kind of give you an idea in thunderstorms along with some of the others. Property damage to fences, vehicles, equipment, and roofs, transportation delays, injuries and death, debris from trees and damaged property, electrical grid problems, communication problems, phone and internet lines down, natural environment damage to include protected species and critical habitats. Given the dynamic nature of thunderstorms, all populations, economy, structures, improved properties, critical facilities and infrastructure, and the natural environments are exposed to this hazard. Moving on to the tornado, which is ranked 2, injury or death, power outages, blocked roadways from trees, damaged properties, natural gas pipeline breaks, fire injuries, and also possible deaths, transportation disruptions, rerouting traffic, loss of property and structures and infrastructure damage, misplaced residents, natural environment damage to include protected species and habitats. All populations, economy, structures, and improved property, critical facilities and infrastructure, and natural environments are exposed to this hazard. We'll move on to 3, extreme heat. Heat stroke or death, people should stay indoors to prevent heat strokes. Elderly people who cannot afford air conditioning is at greater risk. Property damage, loss of water supply, increases grass fire potential and intensity, impact on logistics, power outages, road buckling, disruption in critical infrastructure operations, and vehicle engine failure. The elderly and the very young people and people with poor health are at most risk of extreme heat in that. Winter storms, the potential impact is structural damage, injuries or death, fire outages, losses of ability to use roads for driving, increased traffic accidents, loss of heat, stranded travelers, motels are at full capacity. Tree debris creates fuel loads for fire hazards, delayed emergency response times, frozen and burst pipes leading to loss of water, disruption of traffic, impacts to the economy, and communication capabilities are decreased. Bridges and overpasses that can be impacted by the winter storm, including street names and their locations within your jurisdiction. Though not in River Oaks, the State Highway 183 overpass in Westworth Village at the West Fork of the Trinity River would restrict residents from crossing the river if it was impacted by a winter storm. So we've already had a taste of that more than once in the last, I guess, 5 or 6 years that I can recall. Wildfires. Our most vulnerable spot and location is north, east, south, and west of our jurisdiction. Camp Carter on the north side of the city has over 350 acres of open space. There are approximately 20 homes and a barn near the camp that would be most vulnerable to a fire, though there has been no cases, but still, it could. We have all had quite a bit of discussion when we come up on the American celebration in years past, and that was one of the reasons that there's always a lot of conversation about having our fireworks over in that direction. We don't have too much in flooding, expansive soil, past damage done is to roads, critical infrastructures, things along that. Drought, just about the same on that. We do get our water from Lake Worth. It goes up and down pretty good. So anything, if we went into an extended time for drought, that would push us. Earthquakes, no prior earthquakes have been reported in our city. One big thing was pushing this mitigation strategy in the last couple of years. During the capabilities assessment and hazard analysis, previously impacted assets and populations were analyzed to determine the highest probability for damage and potential loss of life per hazard. As $1 spent in mitigation saves the community on an average of $6 on recovery. FEMA's big into this. They've tried this, that, and yonder, and they keep coming back with the same. It's always been $6, $7, somewhere in that area. So they're really for all of that. And I'll take any questions. I could go on, but it's very repetitive. Does anybody have any questions? Okay.
Looking at it on Z26 of our annex,
Okay.
it talks about the building codes that we're under.
Yes.
The fact that we are going to be presenting for the council to upgrade to the IBC 2015, does that have to be amended in here?